Hello everyone, my name is Yuri Kasdorp from Mouse, and we are here for another track guide on the Coach Dave channel. And we are here for week 3 of the GT Spin series at Portimao. And this is a track with a lot of low, a lot of medium and high speed corners, and a lot of corners where you want to use a lot of the track, maybe a bit more, and a lot of corners where sometimes maybe you don't want to use a bit of track. So let's see what lines I think are the best around here and see how you can get a nice qualifying, because overtaking is quite difficult. So here we are, end of the lap in the Porsche at this fun great track. And we're running race fuel as usual. Tires still a bit cold from the outlet, but this is how you start. I just started the race. So we're running up to start finish now. Turn 1 we want to open it from the left side. Not as much as Red Bull Ring, but on the curb. I'll do the same thing for turn 3. Slowly bring the car over. Open the corner up from the right side here. Careful of not losing the rear on the exit. Then we brake on the downhill. And where exactly, that depends on the track conditions and the tires and the fuel. Keep it on the left side here. Try to keep the speed up if the rear wanted to step out. Try to get good traction out of the corner here. And these curves are 3D curves, so sometimes they catch the car a bit, but it's still worth going over them. And make sure you go all the way wide on the exit here. Tricky to find your braking point for here. Bring the car as much to the left as you can. Try to set up for a good exit. And then be on the curb here for a long time. Turn in when the curb ends. Small lift. And let the car move out on the exit. That's a lap around Algarve. Right, so let's have a look on the outside cam to have a closer look at what lines and braking points we're taking. Turn 1, we have a similar situation as we have on Red Bull Ring, but on the Red Bull Ring we would place our tires on the right side of the curb still. Here, this curb is fully 3D, so it kind of catches the car going over it as well. We want to place our tire on the right side here of the curb when we enter. So we want to put it like this. And then we want to brake and brake in a straight line a bit, and then try to go over the curb a bit in a straight line. So not very slowly immediately starting to turn in, but brake a bit and then turn in to go a bit like more sudden over the curb. And why is that? You'll see when we go over the curb here, the car gets a bit upset. This curb is a lot bigger and more noticeable than the curbs, for example, at Red Bull Ring in turn 1. So what we need to do for that is we need to go over it in a more sudden way instead of just creeping over it slowly, turning it. But it's still worth it putting your left side tires on the left side here, opening the corner up. Then the braking point. I don't like giving you exact braking points for the reason I explained earlier as well. It depends a lot on track conditions, especially the wind, which changes not only every session, but even during the session. What exact line you're taking through the corner, what setup you're running. If you're running the CDA setup, it will be the same. Lots of variables, so I hate saying brake exactly at this point and I figure out the corner afterwards. You need to figure out the corner and then figure out what braking point fits for you, and that braking point for me, I'll say in these videos, but it won't be exactly like start of this line, press the brake, because it will be different. For me, I press the brake right about in the middle of these two white lines. Then turn in quite late. You'll see the car gets a bit upset when you go over the curb, so be mindful of that. And then run it over so that your right side tires are always on this curb here, otherwise you get an off track. And then bring the car to the outside. Quite tricky to see here with the new lighting. Under these conditions, we're running it early in the morning. Again, you want to brake quite early, but whether you want to brake, it depends a lot on what speed you're carrying and stuff. You always want to brake before this white line, but you need to get a feeling for it. Then the hairpin here, make sure you slow it down a lot, because you don't want to use all of this road and exit here. This is one of the only tracks on iRacing where I feel like the rubbered line is not always the best representative of where we want to drive, and we'll see that later as well. But in this corner here, turn 4, you want to open it up from the right side. So we want to open it up much further than where the rubbered line is. If you open up from the rubbered line, you're going to lose a lot of time on the exit. So you want to open it up more from the right side. Be a bit off full throttle going towards the apex. And we want to apex again from the outside, so we want to apex late. And then once we get towards the top of the hill, you can be flat. Because we took the better entry than where the rubbered line is. Again, left side tires need to be on the curb, that's the rule. We go for the downhill here. And again, it's very hard to spot exactly your braking point here. For me, it's around where this green AstroTurf on the right side stops. Then in this corner, I don't like going over the curb because again, it's a quite high 3D curb. This corner, I don't like putting my right side tires on the right side. I like staying inside the lines. Braking just before the green there. Hairpin's quite straightforward with the line. You just have to be careful with the traction on the exit. Keeping it left here for the next right-hander. Then we get into a very tricky combination again. Not completely happy with how I took it on this lap. So small tap on the brake, then let the car mostly roll towards through the right-hander. Spot one on the corner. You don't want to have too many inputs here. Small tap on the brake, small tap on the brake, and then bring it to the outside. And on the outside, you want to start braking for the sharp right-hander now. But what I did wrong here is that my right side tires, I think ideally, you want them to be on the right side of the curb here. If they're exactly on the curb, because they're 3D curbs, you don't slow down as much and you understeer wide a bit. So even though this was legal, I went a bit too wide up the hill. Then you want to make sure you have traction. You run all the way to the outside here, so right side tires on the curb. Easy flat here. Keep it to the left side on the exit. Just want to open up the next right-hander. You want to make sure that your car's towards the left side here at this white line. And around this white line here, you want to start braking. So before you're on the top of the hill, around this white line, you want to start braking from the left side. And then on the exit here, there's a lot of speed you can carry on the apex if you run all the way to the right side or the left side here on the exit. It's very easy when you first start learning the track to keep it on the road here, but you can run very wide here on the exit and still keep the next corner easily flat. And just one of those examples where the rubber line is quite far towards the outside. Well, we can just keep it much tighter than that. Want to brake just before the white line on the right side here. Again, I don't like going over the curb here all the way with the right side tires here because it upsets the car a bit too much. Bring it to the inside. You can run either all the way to the outside or close to the outside. Just make sure you're getting close to the left side again for a nice entry for the next right-hander. So small tap on the brake. Try to keep the speed up here and try to set it up for a nice exit. And then we get to a very tricky blind corner to end the lap with. And this is where if you follow the rubbered line, you're going to go wrong. So What I like to do here is just let the rubber line go towards the inside. Wait until the curb ends. When the curb ends, we want to exit the curb. And then we do a small lift before we get to the top of the hill. And when we get to the top of the hill, we should be able to be back flat out again and take all of this section flat. And if we go back to this point here, we can do that because we're much, much wider than where the rubber line is. And at this point here, our car's pointing much more towards the inside where we wanted to point. So we can have a quick look in Delta as well, how that looks like. So we'll open the Coach Dave Delta here. Get our lap, get the data. And then we look at the last corner here. Take this. And then you'll see we bring it all the way from the outside, quite late. And then right when we get off the curb, when we want the car to start turning, we lift a bit of the throttle. Not even completely if you get the line right. Maybe in the right weather conditions where you have a right headwind, you don't even have to lift here. But we do a small lift here. And before we get to the apex, so before the middle of the corner already, we're back flat out. And because we have this nice line towards the apex, we can easily keep it flat the rest of the corner without also scrubbing a lot of time off on the exit. And what do I mean with that? Sometimes in corners like this in iRacing, if you have even a line, a bit tighter line, if you get to this point here, you can still make it flat out with just turning the wheel a bit more and kind of sliding the tires a bit, dragging them across the road, slowing the car down that way. And that way you're going full throttle. And it feels like you're going full throttle, but you're still going a bit slower than if you take the right line. So we want to make sure that we're coming from the outside. And this small lift here can also do the same, where if you keep it flat, maybe it is possible sometimes, but sometimes it can be slower. Sometimes it can also be faster, but you have to make sure that you're not scrubbing the tires. And then we just run it all the way to the start-finish line for a lap around Portimao. Right, so there we go. Quite an amazing track with lots of elevation. I hope everyone has all the tools to tackle this track the right way now. Lots of fun once you get the hang of it. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I will see everyone next week for the next guide.